What's up everyone, welcome back into Sam Photography. In today's video I want to take you through a full start to finish photo editing workflow. Everything from importing your photo, basic adjustment, color grading, skin retouching and sharpening, and then exporting. And to make this even easier for you, I have created a free preset that you can download from a link in the description. Grab it now so you can follow along with the same law I'm using in this tutorial. So let's go into it. So alright, the first thing we are going to do is to import our image. So come to this open and import your image which you want to import. So let me play around with this. Open. So once it's in, the first thing we are going to do is play around with the basics: exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites and blacks. So I will first play around with the exposure a little bit. So you can play it and increase it if the image is dark, but our image is fine. I think 20 is good. So the next thing, I will play around with the whites. And then the highlights. So the next thing, we are going to lift up the shadows to bring our details back. And we are going to play around with the blacks to bring back the depth of the image. So, and I will play around with the contrast a little bit. And here you can see our before and then after, our before and then after. You can come back and change the values anytime you want. So the goal here is to balance the image before we do any creative editing. So the next thing, we are going to color correction. So let's move into color correction. This is where we fix white balance and remove unwanted color cast. So it's here. So here you can see the temperature. When you drag it into the blues, you are cooling the image. When you drag it into the yellows, you are warming the image. So as I see our image, it's far good, looking good. So I'll just play around with the cooling it a little bit, and you can either play around with the tint to reduce the greens or magenta if needed. You can see if you drag it, you can increase the greens. If you drag this side, you can increase the magenta. But for now, I will play around with the magenta around 3. And the next thing, if you want to make your photo somehow pop, you need to play around with the vibrancy slightly to make it natural pop. So I'll play around with the vibrancy a little bit around +4. Remember, we are not doing any artistic color yet. This is just making the image accurate. So you can see the before and then after, the before and then after. So the next part here, we are going to color grade our image. This is the funny part. Color grading, this is where we add style and mood. So we are going to scroll down to this color mixture tool, and it has mixer and point color. So here you can see the HSL and then the color, but we are going to use the HSL. So we are going to adjust some colors in this HSL sector. So firstly, we are going to enhance skin tones by softening reds and oranges. So we are going to come to these reds, you can see our image. When you drag or increase the reds, then the orange pops. Then when you drag to decrease the reds, then the reds pop. So what we are going to do, we are going to increase on the reds a little bit to make our image pop. Then we are going to play around with the oranges. As you can see, when you decrease the oranges, then the magenta, all the reds pop, and when you increases the oranges, remember the color below this selected color range, you can see if I drag these oranges or increase the oranges, the greens appear. You can see it. When you drag this orange or decrease the orange, the reds appear. So that's how hue works. So I'm going to play around with the oranges. I'll decrease to around -5, so you can see our image. And I will just jump to saturation, and I will play around with the blues. As you can see, want the blues to pop, I'll play around with the blues and with aquas. And to make the skin tone pop a little bit more, you can increase on the oranges in the saturation panel. So the next thing is luminance. Luminance is the brightening of any selected color or darkening of any selected color. You can see if I drag these blues, you can see they are likely to brighten, and when I drag backwards, it's likely to darken. So I will just play around with the oranges, increase it a little bit, then I will decrease the bruise. And as you can see, you can also use this point color to come and sample a specific color you want. Like when I come and sample blue, you can see a blue panel pops up, so I can play around with the blues as you can see. I can play around with the saturation, I can play around with the hue, I can play around with the luminance. Any color you select, you can select here any specific color, even the skin tone. I can come and sample the skin tone, and I can make it pop too much by increasing the saturation, or I can brighten the skin tone. But here I will just play around with the hue and saturation. As you can see, when you decrease to around 100, it turns into magenta. When you increase, it turns into greens. So I will just come and play around with the hues a little bit, and then the saturation, and I think that will be enough for us. And you can see I have added a teal to bruise for a cinematic look. You can see the before and then after so far, the before and the after, but you can see the bruise here are so dark, so you can come again and sample the bruise here and play around with the saturation. You can see the before and then after. And if you want this exact look, don't forget to download the free preset below. It includes all these color grading settings ready to use. So after that you are going to come and press open. Remember, this is a low image, it's a 16-bit image, and we are using the camera raw 17.2. So after that, come and open the image. So the next thing, let's skin up the skin, but we need to keep it natural. So we are going to come and duplicate this layer or background layer by pressing Ctrl J, or by dragging this background layer into this icon, as you can see. So you can either use spot healing tool or clone tool for blemishes to remove these blemishes. So here is our tools to use. You can either use this spotting healing tool to remove this, or you can use this clone stamp tool. So anything you want to use, you can use it, but for now, for me, I will use this spot healing tool. So spotting healing tool works like this. You come and drag or press in this blemish. To remove it, you just come and press or circle in that blemishes to remove that pimple or anything. So you can see it's working for us. And for the clone tool, you come, so to increase this circle, play around with the brackets on the keyboard. So to use this clone tool, just sample, press alt and press or left click to sample the skin, the near skin around the blemish, and then press on it. As you can see, sample, then replace, sample, then replace, sample, and then replace, sample, and then replace. So that's how clone stamp tool works. So for now, I will be using spot healing tool to quicken up the process. And this helps us to smoothen skin slightly, and remember, we don't want the plastic skin. So for now, you can see our before and then after, our before and then after. So the next thing, we are going to smooth our skin slightly. Remember, we don't want a plastic look, so we are going to use frequency separation to smoothen it. So after that, come and image these layers. You can image these layers, or you can just duplicate other layers. Remember, skin frequency separation, we are going to subtract these layers, color, and then the skin tones to our image. So I will just come and make another layer here, then name this layer low, and then this high. So disable this layer, this high layer, then come to blur, to filter, then blur, Gaussian blur, and here you need to pick the radius which is suitable for the skin. Remember, you have to select a layer. You can select it here, the radius which will be perfect for your image. And remember, the higher you go, the pixels or the sharpness of the image. So here I'll just pick 3. Don't go up, because it will not make our image look better. So pick the radius when you can still see the image and the skin. So I will pick 3 and I will press OK. Then I will come to high and make it invisible. So I will just come to image and then apply image. So here in this layer sector, I will just select low, our low layer here. So remember, we are dealing with a 16-bit image. So when you are dealing with a 16-bit image, you always have to use the blending mode of addition. If you are editing a photo around 80-bit, you have to use the blending mode of subtraction. So I'll leave the channel into RGB. Then I will come to this blending mode and I will look for addition. Remember, if you are editing at 8-bit, you always use this subtraction. So for us, we are using addition because we are editing a 16-bit image here. So come to scale and select 2. Then make sure these layers are not selected. Make sure that the offset is 0 and then invert our image. So after inverting our image, press OK. So after that, come to this blending mode and look for linear light. So after selecting linear light, come to this low layer and you can either use the mixer brush tool or you can use the lasso tool. If you want to use the lasso tool, make sure that the feather is 18 or 20. You can start by circling the skin of our image, come to filter, then blur, and then to Gaussian blur, and increase the radius, which is to look for the radius which is perfect for our skin. And I think 20 is good. Come back and circle this, or select that another layer, then come back to blur, Gaussian blur, and then also play around with the radius. Do the same thing all over the models or the subject's skin. And if you would like to use the mixer brush tool, you just come and disable this layer, then come to brushes and then scroll down to mixer brush. Make sure that custom is selected and make sure the weight is 9%, then load 75%, mix 90%, and the flow is 100%. Make sure that this box is not sampled or is not sampled. Sample areas, make sure it's not ticked. So come back to the image and start brushing. Remember, using brush tool, you just press once and then start brushing. You don't need to brush like to what. If you want mixer brush tool to work perfectly, press once and then hold it and then start brushing, as you can see. And make sure a clean brush is selected here. You just press once and hold the button of the mouse and start brushing. If you want to brush another part, then you remove the hand on the mouse and then select the other part. But if you are brushing that similar part on the model skin, just press and hold and then start brushing or painting. Like it works like painting, you hold and paint. If you want to brush another part, you just as you can see, and make sure that you brush correctly. For mixer brush, you just hold and start brushing in that particular place. If you want to move to another part, then you release the hold and then go to other part and then hold and start brushing. Remember, the higher the brush, the perfect sharpness and result. I will be quick here. And you can still come and get the lasso tool, and then if you don't have that time for mixer brush tool, and then circle and select the part you want to apply the blur or the version blur. Because mixer brush tool takes some time to perfect. So you can come back and use the mixer brush tool for that unselected part. To make it uniform. Okay. and you can see our image now is looking very fine. So after that, you can group this layer, hold them and drag it into group, or you can press Ctrl key. So here you can see our before and then after, our before and then after, our before and then after. So after that, we are going to play around with the dodge and burn for contour and depth of our model. So by that, we are going to make a curve here. Come to adjustment and then come to curves. Then I'm going to increase the curves. Come back and select again curves. Then here play around with the shadows. So after that, group these layers by dragging them into this group icon. Rename this dodge and burn, and here this group was frequency separation. So open our group. So here you can see this is the masking area. So just press Ctrl I to invert our image. Ctrl I, and here in this press also Ctrl I. So here it will help us to play around with, or to increase on the depth of our image. So remember, dodge will help us to contour and to create depth for our image. So come and make and rename these layers. As you can see, this is burn, the white is burn, or the highlights is burn, and then the darken is the white is dodge, and then the black is burn. After renaming this, come here, dodge and burn works like this. The dodge, you select the highlights of our image or on the model skin. Come and select a brush. Make sure it's a soft round brush. So come, make sure black is down, then up is up, then the white is up. If you can't see the colors, these colors, come and select these swatches, color swatches. So zoom in the image and select and select the whites. You can check, or you can see the whites. Here are the whites. You can see, you can draw lines on the highlights of our image. As you can see, and after that come to burn. Then here you select the shadows or the dark side. So after that, come and click in these layers. This property layer pops up. If you are not seeing it, come to Windows and look for properties. It will also pop. So after that, play around with the feather or increase on the feather pixel. As you can see, when I increase, play around with the feathers, then come to another to burn and also click in that mask layer and then play around with the feather also. Remember, we want the depth in our image. Here you can see the before and then after, the before and then after, before and then after. You can play around with the opacity always to get the clear results. I think 6 days good. You can see the before and then after, the before and then after, before and then after. So the next thing is we are going to play around with the eyes or to whiten the eyes. So I'll come to adjustments and look for hue and saturation. So I will play around with the saturation. I will drag the saturation all away from all along to around -78. So press Ctrl I in this mask to invert our layer. So come and get or pick our brush. Remember, it must be a soft round brush and the hardness must be at around 0 and the mode must be at normal. So start brushing our image or our eyes. This is the fastest way to whiten eyes and teeth in Photoshop. So you can see the before and then after, before and then after. So after that you can group this layer to see the before and then after. You can see the before and then after, the before and then after. So this step will take your photos or your portraits from beginner to professional with this workflow. So the next thing is we are going to sharpen our image or to add details, and then we finalize, or we do our finalize or add finishing touches to our image. And here, when adding sharpness, you have to sharpen carefully, and you have to select where to sharpen the skin, the dresses, the what. So you have to select the part to sharpen. So I will just come and make a layer of our image. Press Ctrl Shift Alt E to create our workflow layer. So come to filter and then come to camera raw. So remember, we are going to sharpen our image. So I will play around with the contrast, and I will play mostly around with these effects, the light and texture. So I will increase on the clarity to sharpen our image a little bit, and I will play around with the texture. So here you can see the before and then after adding clarity and texture. And you can either also play around with this vignette to pull focus to the subject. So if you play around with this vignette, you will pull focus to the subject. If I drag a little bit, you can see if I play with it, this helps us to focus on the subject. So I will decrease on the vignette around -30. So here you can see the before and then after, the before and then after. So after that, you need to adjust color grading one last, or you can play around with the color grading one last time. So to make sure that the color in our image, all the skin tones, all the color are the perfect result you wanted. So scroll up and come and look for color mixer. Always zoom out and make sure the image still feels natural. You can play around with these colors again to get the best result. You can make the heart pop by increasing on the yellows and by playing around with its brightness. And you can play around with the skin tone. You can increase on the lightness of the skin tone. So I think that's enough for color grading. So the next thing after that, press OK. So the next thing, the last part, we are going to export our image. And remember, you have to select or set quality to maximum, and you need to use the high resolution to get the best of your image. And you can either put a watermark if needed. So here you can see I can make a group of this, or you can see the before and then after, the before and then after, the before and then after. So this is how to edit a photo from the start, or from beginner to professional. And the last part, we are going to export it. So come and merge this layer. Oh, remember we had forgot to crop our image. You can crop it in the size of 4 to 6, or you can crop it at a ratio of 4 to 5. You can crop it. So you can see the before and then after, and before and then after. So the next thing is we are going to export this image. So come and merge our image by pressing Ctrl+Shift+E. As you can see, it has merged. So to export it, come to File and then Export, and then Export As. This export will pop up. So select the JPEG format and make sure the quality is at around 100%. Then for post process, make sure the sample or resample the big picture is selected to make it. We don't want our image to lose color or quality, and make sure that this box is selected, color profile, and then you can now export your image. You can give it a name, or you can export it. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the full start to finish tutorial, hit that like button and subscribe, and then turn on the bell so you don't miss upcoming editing videos. And don't forget to download your free preset in the description. Try it out on your photos and tag me so I can see your results. See you in the next video. Bye bye.